Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Andrew Musgrove here. Hope you guys are doing well. Please give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It's totally free. It just means every time that we upload some new content, you will get a notification, and it helps us get the videos out to a wider audience. Not much going on in the world of Newcastle United, I hate to admit it. You would have seen the update yesterday on the stack with the signs going up and the roof nearly complete. It's going to be really exciting to see that venue open. Looks like it's going to be open for that Cellar weekend, if not then the following weekend when Southampton kick off Newcastle United's Premier League campaign at St James's Park. Really looking forward to seeing that venue open. Live music, all the food vendors. It's going to be very, very exciting. Transfer window wise, we're still waiting for some new additions to join the likes of John Ruddy, Vladik Dibos and Lloyd Kelly. We're still waiting for those statement signs which you feel Newcastle United really do need if they're going to make a good go of getting back into the Champions League for the season after the one coming up. We saw in previous summer, Sandro Tonali, Alexander Isak, they do tend to sign at least one big name, someone who's going to really turn heads, but it's yet to happen. Ideally, you would have loved that player in before they went to Germany, if not Germany, before they've gone down to Hull, which they'll do on Saturday for a pre-season friendly. If not Hull, then before they fly off to Japan, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. So it'll have to happen maybe when they're in Japan, and fingers crossed it can do it. It needs to happen really as soon as possible just to pick everyone up, because you feel, and you guys watch will be telling me in the comments, it feels a bit doom and gloom. It feels like something just needs to spark up. And it'll help with the ticket sales for the Cellar Cup. It'll help just to, I don't know what's the right word, galvanise the fan base, because it does feel a little bit meh at the moment. And there have been plenty of positives. You know, Paul Mitchell coming in is a massive coup for Newcastle United. One of the best sporting directors the game has at this present time. And Newcastle United have got him. That's absolutely superb. Adidas back in the mix. The home kit looks excellent. You know, there's a lot of positives that have happened this summer, but right now it just seems a little bit meh. And a couple of signings in the next week or so will really pick the fan base up, and the players and the squad, I imagine, as well, because they'll be wanting top players to come in. So fingers crossed that happens sooner rather than later. But today's video is about the Premier League being played abroad. Let me get my words out. Being played abroad. You might have seen the comments from the London Mayor Sadiq Khan. He was on the Sports Agents podcast, which is a really good podcast if you get a moment to listen to it. And he put forward the idea that has been put forward by countless other people, including some of those very closely linked to the Premier League, that the top flight should play at least a game a season abroad, preferably in the United States of America. And every time I hear this idea, I just have to shake my head. I'm just left absolutely gobsmacked at the ignorance of people to suggest this, because it is a baffling idea. It's done with one thing in mind and one thing only, and that is the money. Now, I know we will have viewers who are tuning in from the United States and other countries across the world, like Australia. Hello to you guys. Thank you for watching our videos. And this isn't anything against you guys. I know how much it means to be able to watch your football club. We're very, very fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate. I live 15 minutes drive away from St James's Park. It's not lost on me how lucky I am. And you guys are thousands of miles away, and you can't just get in the car. You can't just hop on the bus and get to St James's Park to watch your team. So I know when they come over for pre-season tours how much it means to you guys to get that experience, and it's wonderful to see. It's very emotive. I get it. We saw it this time around when they went to Australia straight after last season finished. We saw it last year with the States, with the tour in the States. I get it. I understand it, but I just can't subscribe to the suggestion that competitive games should be played abroad, whether it be the United States, whether it be Australia, whether it be Saudi Arabia. It just should not happen at all. The Premier League needs to stay on these shores. And the main reason is because you look around at how football fans already treat in this country, and in my opinion, there is a lack of respect for them, mainly when it comes to arrangements for away games and how close to those games that the details of the kickoff can be changed. You know, you're literally talking sometimes weeks before the game kicks off, and you get the message that the day's been changed, or it's been changed to a late kickoff, or it's been changed to an early kickoff. People have already paid for their travel and for their hotels and their accommodation. It's not fair. But time and time again, it just seems that football fans are an afterthought. And that has to change, because without football fans, football is nothing. It seems very, cliche to say that, but it's that simple. And it's about time that the Premier League started in respecting football fans. I've spoken to the Premier League about the consideration that's given to travelling fans when the decisions are made about which games are televised. And the word I got back was, well, it's always advisable not to book accommodation until that game is locked in. But by then, especially if you're going down to London, you're paying hundreds upon hundreds of pounds for accommodation. You want to book it early so you can get the best deal. The closer you leave it, the more expensive it's going to be. The same with travel, same with getting days off work, etc., etc. But time and time again, the ease for football fans to make their plans, especially for away games, is just not thought of, and they do appear to be an afterthought. And if they were going to play a Premier League game abroad, it would be exactly the same. And we've seen the suggestion before, and it wasn't too long ago that the Liverpool owner suggested it should happen. And the number one question that's asked is, well, what about fans in this country, season ticket holders? How do they get over to the United States? So, well, you'll make air travel cheap. You'll make, it doable, viable for fans to travel. It's not that simple. It's not like you're literally hopping on a train to get across the northwest to see Newcastle versus Manchester United or Old Trafford, or travel down to Anfield, or even to Brighton. You're talking about a transatlantic flight to the United States of America. You're going to have to take 3 or 4 days off. It's absolutely ridiculous to suggest that this is an idea that could work, because it just can't, especially if you're trying to find a solution where the football fans who support their team week in, week out here in England matter. If this goes ahead, and I think it will go ahead in time, I don't think it'll ever get passed off, but I do think we'll get to the stage where football fans have to unite, a little bit like they did with that Super League, where everyone came together and said, this is not going to happen. That was the power of football fans across Europe, really. I think the same will have to happen here in England, where fans unite and say, no, we're not accepting, the games in the Premier League have been played abroad, or we're not accepting the 39th game. That's what we used to call it, wasn't it? We're just not accepting it. And then I think the Premier League and any owners who back it will buckle. Let me read you the quote then from Sadiq Khan, as said on the Sport Agents podcast. He said, Liverpool, the club I support as Mayor of London, are currently on a tour in America. They have big fans in America. Why can't those fans see a competitive game? We've seen other leagues across Europe play competitive games elsewhere. All 32 NFL teams have played in London. All of them have had a great experience. We have some of the top baseball teams playing in London. There are a lot of obstacles, but I think that's the way it's going. It's very important to take the fans with you. We don't want fans missing out on more than 1 or 2 games a season in their home stadium. When you look at the way the Premier League works, a lot of money the clubs receive comes from TV rights. The key thing for our fans is to make sure our fans don't lose out, to make sure the games are in the right time zones, that the players are looked after when they come back. One of the things we learn from American football is that often when the players go back, the next game is an issue due to time zones and diets. And I would have loved Sadiq Khan, look, I admit I haven't listened to the full episode, but I would love Sadiq Khan to tell me the solution to fans not missing out. Like, what's the solution there? How are fans not going to miss out? You're moving the game thousands of miles away. They're going to miss out. Like, it's just inevitable. It's a really, really daft idea. And I've got no doubt that if, it went to America or Saudi Arabia or Australia, the experience would be fantastic. Those putting on the stadium and what have you, they would make it work. We've seen that. People are very good at their jobs. And I've no doubt that the Newcastle United fans who would be there in those countries would support their team just like we do here back on Tyneside. And I have no doubt as well that there'd be a fair few travelling over from England. But that's just not good enough, because it won't be a capacity crowd. It won't be a team full of a stand full of Geordies. It just won't be. Honestly, it's just an absolute baffling idea, which again I think just goes back to people not really understanding maybe what football means to people. You know, you do build your week around it. And imagine when you get that email to say, oh, by the way, that game you've been looking forward to, it's getting played in New York. Can't go. You can watch it on telly at 2 a.m. in the morning. Because I think Sadiq Khan's hope of having it at a sensible time in time zones is again another dreamy suggestion, which isn't going to work at all. It just isn't going to happen. If it goes to America, it'll be done on American time. It'll be done to benefit people over there, because you're not going to have fans traveling, you know, weird times over there to spectate the game. English fans will lose out. And I just can't get my head around the idea. Let me know in the comments, do you think it's a good idea? Because I really, really don't. I just don't get why Sadiq Khan has suggested that. Like, it seems a baffling idea for someone who's so vocal and so passionate about Liverpool. I mean, to be fair, you know, it is the Liverpool owners who've recently suggested, so maybe it's a Liverpool thing. I don't know if you're a Liverpool fan, you've stumbled across it, do let me know. Are you happy with your owners and Sadiq Khan suggesting that Premier League games be played abroad? I'm certainly not. I just think it's an absolute just daft idea, absolute daft idea. And then we haven't even mentioned the impact on players. I mean, when are you going to do it? What games are you going to choose to be played abroad? Is it going to be the last couple of games in the Premier League season, when, you know, those games could be absolutely crucial? You know, there's so many obstacles and so many kind of things that you have to think about if you were to do this, because you'd have to pick a week where, or a couple of weeks where every team plays in America, perhaps. But then the logistics of that, flying everybody out, not to mention making a mockery of this net zero goal that the Premier League has, and, you know, putting the environment first, and then you're flying out all these players and staff and their equipment and kit, and then you're flying out fans. Like, you know, that's just makes a mockery of this whole trying to be good for the environment. But also, more to the point, you'd have to make sure that no one really benefits, because what I mean by the terms of that, if you've got a big game coming up, you know, you've got a game that you need to win to either avoid relegation or go for the Premier League title, and you were originally drawn at home to play that game, and then all of a sudden you're off to America to play it, you lose the benefit of your home crowd, which does make a difference. We've seen it at St James's Park. The power of you guys on the terraces makes a difference. Think back on that PSG game, and what a night that was. Every tackle, every kick being cheered. You guys were right behind the players. You spurred them on. Anthony Gordon throwing his hands up in the air, making sure you knew that he knew and the team knew just how important you were to that night and what result it was. 4-1. Fantastic. Could you imagine the important game that was due to be played in front of your fans, and all of a sudden it's over in America? Well, you do have some of your fans, but it won't be the same raw of St James's Park. So there's so many things that they would have to think about before they even begin to put something into place. And I just don't think it's worth it. I really don't think it's worth it. It's great to see them go on pre-season, gives fans over there the chance, gives the players and those at the club a different experience. But when it comes to competitive games, whether that be the Premier League, the FA Cup, League Cup, you've got to keep it in England. You just have to keep it in England, because you're messing with tradition. You're messing with the game. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Sadiq Khan's wrong. Anyone that suggests that this is a good idea, I'm sorry. You've got your entitled to your opinion, but I am not agreeing with you. I think it's an absolutely ludicrous idea, added expense for fans, farcical idea that you could somehow get them on cheap travel and they won't miss out, because they will do. The impact on players and the preparation, the impact on the season. There's so many reasons against it. So many reasons against it. It cannot happen. We cannot let it happen as football fans. And like I say, I can see it getting to a stage where we're going to have to unite and tell the Premier League it's just not going to happen. I think we will have to get that point. It'll be sooner rather than later. And hopefully when we all stand up and unite, they go back on their idea. Premier League games abroad. Just don't let it happen. Please don't let it happen. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. Hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you very soon.